What's up, guys? I want to showcase to you guys a deck that I've been working on in the lab lately, and it's going to be X-Sabers. So X-Sabers is a deck that is very low on the tier list for reasons I do not understand. It's one of the, I feel like it's a really good deck into Edison format, especially nowadays, where there's a lot of Blackwings, there's a lot of Vayus, there's a lot of Dragon Turbo as well. Some people are even playing Dragon Turbo. I believe X-Saber has a really good Dragon Turbo matchup because they have cards to hit cards out of people's hands. And if you're able to go into X-Saber Arabellum against Dragon Turbo, it's pretty much GG's for the most part because they can't deal with it for the most part. So yeah, I took this deck on Duelingbook ladder. I've been going. I think I go 7-0. Yeah, I went 7. No, I think I went 8-0 with this particular list. So whatever the title of the video says is the amount of wins that I've had with this deck. So you can argue it's because the Duelingbook ladder is not real. I can also agree with that, but also it is 7-0. I haven't lost a single match with this deck yet. So not trying to brag. I just think this deck is really good. The deck is actually going to be called Dark Sabers because it plays Dark Engines, and you'll see why in a minute. So let's go into the deck profile really quick. I play the 3 Full Troll. You must play 3 Full Troll in this deck. If you don't play 3 Full Troll in this deck, you can't access your boss monster, which is X-Saber Gothams. And also, this is your +1 engine. So if you're able to stick this guy up on board and he sticks for a turn, then you're able to generate value. He's kind of like the red meta of the deck in the aspect that you're able to special summon an X-Saber from your graveyard or your hand, just your graveyard. It has to be level 4 or lower, so just keep that in mind. Best X-Saber in the deck by far. I play the 3 Arabellum because I also play the Rescue Cat engine. So Rescue Cat being the honorary X-Saber monster. I don't play Giant Rat in this deck, just letting you guys know. I don't think Giant Rat is kind of needed in this deck because recruiter monsters are kind of bad in this deck because you want to resolve a trap card in this deck, and I'll show you guys in a minute what that trap card is. But you definitely need the Rescue Cat along with the Raikou. So this is your little X-Saber engine that can be turboed out with Rescue Cat. I would argue X-Saber is actually better in Edison than it is in Tengu. Even though you don't have Dark Soul access, you do have Rescue Cat access. And Rescue Cat access is so much more better than having a Dark Soul in my opinion. Dark Soul is really slow in Tengu plant format, and I don't agree that's really that good, especially since Thunder King Ryo is also in the format too. So I believe X-Saber is just generally better in Edison format, even without the Dark Soul in the deck. Then we have the 3 Embers Blade. You got to play the Embers Blade because he's your recruiter monster that can go into anything. He also acts as a way to get to your Fulham Knights. So if you're able to, if this guy gets destroyed, then you bring out the Fulham Knight the next turn, and if you attack over a monster in defense position using Book of Moon, then you get the Embers Blade back, so it generates you a +2 in actuality, because you're getting rid of a monster and you're getting a special summon an Embers Blade. It would be a +2, but you're generally using a Book of Moon in tandem with the Fulham Knight. Fulham Knight is also really good because it's a tuner, it's a warrior, and it's just overall, this is your biggest advantage engine next to your Full Troll. So these 2 cards are really good in tandem with each other, I would say. Being able to access your Gothams is really important too, and this is how you're going to get, most of the time you're going to be Synchro Summoning with the Fulham Knight. Being able to negate an attack is really good too, in a lot of different scenarios. Just being able to negate an attack that is very crucial for maintaining your board presence, especially if they go Catastor. They think Catastor is really good. Well, if you're able to negate the Catastor attack, then you have the next turn to clap back, essentially. Then we have the Rajagura. You have to play Rajagura because it's kind of like your 4th Full Troll in a sense, or it allows you to get to your 2nd name, so that you can normal summon the next turn and go Full Troll afterwards. Definitely need it at least at 1 in this deck. I don't play 1-for-1 in this deck for the same reason why you shouldn't play 1-for-1 in decks that lose hard to oppression. So if you lose hard to oppression in your main deck, I probably wouldn't main deck 1-for-1 because it loses hard to oppression. So I don't play oppression in this deck, and I also don't play Summoner Monk in this deck. You'll see why in a second, but the reason why I don't want to play Summoner Monk is because you have to play more spells in your deck, and playing more spells in your deck makes your deck infinitely worse, I would say. You need spell cards are generally good, but in X-Sabers, the spell cards that are the best is Book of Moon, but you play 3 of that in anyways, and then you don't want to give up your spells like Mind Control and Brain Control. So that's why. Let's go into the dark package. It's going to be Gale. The reason why I play Gale in this deck, as well as Junk Synchron. One, Junk Synchron is searchable. Gale is just a really good dark monster that can run over mostly everything. And if people stick a Catastor on you, Gale can deal with Catastor really well. And then Junk Synchron can Synchro Summon with the Raikou. But a card that I play in my extra deck, and the reason why I play the Junk Synchron, is this card right here. So I'll show you guys in a minute. The card I want to play in this deck, and I thought it would be a fun idea, but also turned out to be really good, is is the Underground Arachnid. So a lot of people don't know what this does. To synchro summon with this guy, you need a Dark Tuner, which you do have 2 of them in your deck, and you need an Insect Non-Tuner. So because these are level 3s and this is the level 6, you just need a Insect Non-Tuner, and that X-Saber Non-Tuner is the Arabellum, or the Emmer's Blade. So with the Emmer's Blade being able to tune into this guy makes a whole lot of a difference in X-Sabers, because what this card does is that it chooses one of your face-up monsters that your opponent controls, and it equips it to this card, and if this card were to be destroyed by battle, you can destroy the equipped card instead. So there's a lot of application for this, and the reason why I play this little engine is because you want to be able to deal with dupe block. And so if you're able to bring this guy out and steal one of the dupe block or the dupe frog and equip it to him, you can attack over the other dupe block, and then now you have effectively gotten over the dupe block in X-Sabers. Generally, without this particular engine, the X-Saber had to go into the Brionac, or that's pretty much it. Brionac is the only way to out the dupe block in this deck. Catastor can deal this with the soft dupe block, and then Raikou is the other way. But since I play the Raikou, since I play the Dark Engine, which is the 2 spies and the Descendant, and I now have a way to deal with the dupe block as well as the Royal Oppression in the main deck. This is GOAT format ratios. Oftentimes you'll often just see 2 spies. I don't need to see more than 1 spy for the most games. I just want to set 1. You're mainly going to be setting Emmer's Blade. You don't want to be setting spies, which is why I decided to only play the 2 spies and the 1 Descendant. In the damage step, if they do attack into the spy and they have a Royal Oppression up, they can't negate it, and that allows you to go into Descendant, and Descendant can just pop the Oppression in games 1. So that's kind of the idea. You want to play the Dark Engine. It's also a spellcaster, so any spellcast, any 2 spies, and along with a Fulham Knight or a Arabellum, lets you go into Arcanine position, and that's another way to out like problematic back rows such as Trap Stun, which is really good against the deck for some reason, and Bottomless Trap Hole. So yeah, being able to make Arcanine to be able to push back a lot of the different traps in the game makes this engine invaluable. I think that's all for the monsters. I think it's only 20 monsters for the most part, but it's all you really need. You're doing exactly what the deck needs to do, which is to bring out Full Troll every turn, or just synchro summon and do a lot of degenerate plays. You have to play these spell cards. Another reason why I don't play the Summoner Monk is because I don't want to pitch these cards ever in any situation. These cards are just way too valuable to give up, and it also outs the dupe block as well. We also have the Spell and Trap removal, which is the Heavy Storm and the MST, which is an out to Oppression. So you need ways to out Oppression, otherwise this deck can't function as well as you would like to. But you do have the Spy, like I said before, the Spy and the Descendant to pop the back row. We also have the Reinforcements of the Army, which is a really good spell card, allowing you to fetch even a Junk Synchron out of your deck so that you can Synchro Summon. Sometimes a Raikou will be in the graveyard, and this can turn into a 1-card level 5 Synchro. Other scenarios, you can just get a Fulham Knight, and that's kind of the idea behind Rhoda. Then I play the 3 Book of Moon. You have to play Book of Moon in this deck, especially at 3, because you want to be able to run over defense position monsters with the Fulham Knight, and the Fulham Knight allows you to gain a lot of advantage because of that reason. Even if you don't have the Fulham Knight, these are really good disruption cards against synchro plays. So if you're playing against a deck that summons Debris Dragon and go into try to Black Rose you, Book of Moon is kind of like the out to that. So I definitely would not consider dropping Book of Moon in this deck. It's just that much of a staple. That's all the spell cards I play. Again, I don't play the Summoner Monk for the reason that I don't want to give up to any of these spell cards. These spell cards are way too useful. That's why I don't play it. And then Summoner Monk also loses to Oppression too. So yeah. Then we have the 3 Goddess Emergency Call for the traps. You need to play these cards, even though it's sometimes dead. I would rather have at least 1 copy in my hand to be able to play the X-Saber game, and this allows you to do so very well. Yeah, so the trap card that everybody doesn't play for some reason, and I don't understand at all, is Saber Hole. This card won me so many games on its own. It's kind of like a Solemn Warning. If your deck can play 3 Solemn Warnings in your archetype, you should probably play it. It's kind of like saying, no, don't play this card. Like, this is basically the Chariot of this deck, except it's a lot better because it negates a normal summon. So the only downside is it can't be recycled, but you don't really need to recycle it. You just need to resolve 1 or 2. And then once you're able to resolve at least 1, your Arabellum is going to be able to clear an attack, because now the monster's gone. Especially if you summon this and set this card and you Saber Hole the next monster, you can attack directly and then generate a +1 off the Arabellum. I would say that this card makes it so much better. It negates Caius, which is your bait in this deck. It even negates like flip effect monsters. If they flip a Raikou or Hamster, you can Saber Hole it, and now they have to regain their board presence again. And I just think this card is just so invaluable in this deck, and I don't know why nobody's playing it in X-Sabers. Sure, I mean, you do need it at face-up X-Sabers, but when are you not going to have an X-Saber deck, face-up X-Saber monster in an X-Saber deck. That seems like unlikely. Then we have a Dust Shoot. Dust Shoot is good in Edison format. That's why you have to main deck it. Call of Hana is just basically a fourth copy of God's Emergency Call. I do side it out in games 2 and 3 because of Vanity's Fiend as well as Fossil Dyna. So just an FYI, it's not that good in games 2 and 3. Although you can make an argument that it probably is good in case they don't open it, but I'd rather just not have a liability at all. We have the Mirror Force, the 2 Bottomless, and the Solemn. So the Solemn's good because you want to be able to push. I don't play Trap Stun in the main deck because this card is more like Swiss Army knife. The 2 Bottomless Trap Hole is really good, especially since you're playing 5 ways to stop summons. You have a good Blackwing matchup because if they try to summon any monster, you can just Saber Hole it especially if they go Black Whirlwind, summon Shura or Bora, any monster, and you Saber Hole it, then you gain a +1 because the Black Whirlwind just sits there until they're able to normal summon again. And if they can't normal summon again back to back, then they're really not getting any value off the Whirlwind at all. So yeah, if you're able to just keep resolving these cards against Blackwings, essentially you have the game against them. That's the main deck for you guys. Pretty solid 40 cards. I don't like playing more than 40 cards, and this deck is really consistent for what it does. Let's go into the extra deck. We know we play the Underground Arachnid. Just keep in mind you can't equip more than 1 monster to this guy, so just keep in mind that. Sometimes you can proactively destroy the monsters equipped to this to a bigger monster so that you could re-equip the following turn, because when it's destroyed by battle, you can destroy the equipped instead. So that's that. We play the 2 Golems. I don't know if I should play 2 or 1. 2 seems to be the right number. I have never gotten to the second one. If you are tight on deck space and you want to play something else, then you can cut a Golems. You can cut a Golems from out of this deck. We have the 1 Hyunlei. Maybe a second Hyunlei is good, but I never really went into the second one. And then the Urbellum. I think this is the more important X-Saber because it's generic, and a Spy and any level 3 tuner, even Junk Synchron, can go into this. So you can have 2 non-X-Saber monsters turn into an X-Saber monster so that your Godam's Emergency Call is live. That's kind of nice. Then we have the level 6s. Never went into most of these except for Goyo. Maybe Bryo's good too sometimes, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Then we have the Armory Arm because this deck can make it really well with Rajigura. And then you side into Crow as well because that's a level 1. That's really nice. Then we have the level 5s. Not much to say. Never made a Mistworm. Arcanite Mission you will go into because you do have Spellcaster non-tuners, such as Spy. I honestly think Spy is a bit better than Summoner Monk in this deck in particular because it doesn't lose too hard to Oppression because they can you can flip that card over and damage step if they attack into it, and then go and descend it. Or you can go into double Spy and then you can go into an Arcanite. I've considered playing 2 Arcanite Magician, but I've ultimately cut it for a Black Rose Dragon, which is what I play instead. But if you can make room for another Arcanite Magician, I probably would in this deck. It's just that good of a card. And then I play with the 1 Stardust. Level 8s is really hard to make in this deck, so I don't recommend playing too many level 8s in this deck. But that's why I only play the 1 Stardust, because you can make it off the level 5 monsters. So if you're making this off the Junk Synchron and the Draco, then the next level 3 tuner can make a Stardust. But it's kind of like 2 steps, and you don't want to do that. That's the extra deck monsters. We'll go into the side deck. Well, just FYI, if you guys are interested in watching the gameplay video, I will have gameplay video attached to the same video, so stay tuned for that one. We have the 2 Dust Tornado. You just need this against basically Rogue Oppression decks, but it's just generally good for other decks as well. I sided this against GK once to hit their Necro Valley, and then they were unable to play the game, essentially. Trap Stun is just really good overall against back row decks, so if you're able to resolve a Hyunlei after a Trap Stun, I think you're just winning the game for the most part. Then I play the 2 Iron Walls because there's a lot of decks that banish stuff from the graveyard, including the Frog Hero deck, so this is really good against them as well. Vayu, it stops Vayu, and it stops Bottomless, and it stops D-Prison. Also, D-Prison is not that great, but you can also side this against Fairy too because they rely on DD Warrior Lady to kind of like make your Emerald's Blade not work. So if you can side this against Fairies, I would also do that because DD Warrior Lady is kind of a menace to this deck. If you see your opponent's playing Night Assailant or DD Assailant, this also stops the DD Assailant as well. We have the 2 DD Crow. DD Crow is just a really good hand trap. I don't know why I've cut it in the past for Transmigration Prophecy, but this card is just a hand trap, and I think this is a little better in terms of surprisability. But I mean, I don't play Transmigration Prophecy, but Amaryllis, the idea is you just side these cards against Amaryllis, and then you'll be fine for the most part. You just don't need much against Amaryllis, essentially, since you have access to Catastor. Yeah, and then we have the 2 Cyber Dragons and the Chimera Tech in the extra deck, in case you play against Machina. Although it's kind of hard to see Machinas lately, it's a cool deck. I just don't want to main deck too many of these. Then we play the Cold Wave. I love Cold Wave in this deck. I just think it's just an overtuned card. I think you should definitely play this card, especially if you're playing against Dragon Turbo. You could just resolve this on one turn, and they can't even activate spells for another whole turn. And that can be spell the difference between winning and losing if you're able to resolve this card against them. Giant Trunade is just a really good power spell for X-Sabers because you have cards that can hit cards out of your opponent's hand. So if you're able to resolve a Trunade against them, especially back row, you can attack directly with an Arabellum, then they're losing that card, which is kind of nice. And then we have the two Light Imprisoning Mirror, also for fairies, also for Crucius Sworn decks. Yeah, because those decks kind of ignore the battle phase, so they just try to bring out their milling as much as possible, and this card shuts them off. So essentially that's it. So we're going to go into the gameplay video right after this video, so stay tuned for that one just to see. I should have like all the good ones. My matchups were, I think I played 3 Vayu Turbos, I won all of them. I played against Blackwings, I won that one, even though they drew Whirlwind like 2 out of the 3 games when they were going first with Shura. And then I played against zombies and I won that, and I played against GKs. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's like 2 more, I believe it is. Let me check. And I also played against Hero Frogs. I forgot to mention that once. Played against Hero Frogs, and I played against GKs. Yeah, definitely considering playing this deck for Nationals. We'll have to see. It's actually testing really well. Definitely exceeding my my expectations by a lot. Maybe I'm just getting lucky by drawing a lot of the good hands, but who really gets lucky after 7 rounds of playing on Duelingbook? But yeah, that's the game. I'm going to show you the gameplay video after this, so stay tuned for that one. All right, this is going to be the gameplay video between me and X-Sabers, or X-Sabers versus Blackwings. I'm going to start off the turn here by searching the Fulham Knight here because I have a handful of X-Saber monsters, or X-Saber cards. I'm going to be sending a Saber Hole, and I'm just going to be passing here in the event that I don't want to get Heavy Storm for like 4 or 3. So he's going to start off the turn here with a really good start. He starts off with an MST. He also has the Whirlwind and the Blackwing. So yeah, had I been able to activate the Saber Hole and the Shura, it would have been really great. However, that's not the case here. So he's going to try to press over the Fulham Knight. I'm going to let the Fulham Knight die here. I know to declare the attack, but I want to let him die because I don't want to give him a +1 from the Shura attack here. So I'm going to take the damage instead of letting the negate happen. So he's going to set 2 more back row. It's going to look pretty bad here. I do have the Mirror Force to stop his onslaught. So I'm probably going to set multiple back rows to see what happens. He's going to activate the Legacy Yagarasu, drawing to the Sirocco here, and he's going to attack with Shura. I'm going to use the Mirror Force right away, and he's going to Solemn. So a really bad start for me. He was able to open up the Whirlwind, the Shura, the MST, and the Solemn Judgment. So already back on the back foot. Drawn to a Saber Hole, and I skip game 1. So already off to a bad start because of his really good opening, but that doesn't mean I'm going to lose the match yet. I'm going to start my turn going first again. I'm going to set the Ember's Blade most likely, as long as with the Book of Moon, in case he tries to summon a monster under the Whirlwind here. He's going to activate the Allure of Darkness. He's going to banish his Blizzard, I believe, or D-Crow, one of those two. He's going to banish the D-Crow, activate the Whirlwind, and he's going to summon the Clue here. I do have the option here to activate the Book of Moon, but I'm going to keep the Book of Moon for other turns, other plays that I can do. He's going to search for the Gale here. He could special summon the Gale to go into the Synchro monster, but let's see what he does here. He's not going to summon a monster and attack. He's not even going to declare an attack. So what I'm going to do here is flip the Ember's Blade, declare the attack myself. And then by doing so, I'm hoping to get into the Arabellum play where I can just attack his life point directly. He targets both my monsters, so it must mean that he did a slip where he meant to activate the Icarus attack, and he does activate the Icarus attack, destroy my 2 monsters. So it's not too bad. So I'm gonna set more back row. I set the trap stun so I can stop his D prison. So let's see what happens here. I'm gonna chain Book of Moon, chain Book of Moon to the Black Whirlwind so he can't get a search. He's gonna set the D prison. I'm gonna activate the reinforcements in the army to get the Fulham Knight. Summon the Fulham Knight. I could activate the trap stun first, but I don't have any follow-up play after the trap stun, even if I resolve it to bring back a monster. So I'm gonna attack first. He's gonna activate D prison, and I'm gonna chain trap stun, and he's gonna chain the second D prison. So to my 2 cards for his 2 seems like a good trade here, especially since his Whirlwind is pretty much not going to do anything for him. Unless he summons a Gale, search for a Vayu. That doesn't seem too great. He's going to summon the Blizzard here, and then he's going to search for the Vayu, and then he's going to Synchro Summon into a Catastor, I want to say, or he can just leave it out. I personally would not leave it out just because I can crash the Ember's Blade and go into the Fulham Knight and attack over his Clute. And I think he makes a big misplay here where he doesn't set the D prison. No reason why he shouldn't be setting the D prison. He just passes here. giving me an opportunity to take advantage of the situation. So I'm gonna summon the Ember's Blade, crash into the Blizzard here, go into the Fulham Knight, and attack over the Kalut here in defense position, and then get back my Ember's Blade in defense position. So I do have that option. Let's see what else I want to do here. Let's see. Oh, it looks like I can go into another Fulham Knight. So I can attack with the Fulham Knight, activate the Book of Moon, set the Shura here, and then finally go up into the Ember's Blade, and I'm gonna attack directly because he has a Whirlwind up, so he won't be able to Gores me if he does have it. So now I have 3 monsters up. I could Synchro Summon if I want to. I think I'm gonna go into. So I Synchro Summon to Hyunlei here, so I can pop his Black Whirlwind, so he doesn't get any value off the Whirlwind. He's gonna set the Deep Presence, summon the Gale, half the Hyunlei. I'm gonna get the attack. That's pretty good for me. And then here's a play here where I can Mind Control the Gale, and then Synchro Summon Hyunlei and go into Gothams, because Gothams requirement is really strange. So I think that was what it was. So I have the option here to Mind Control first to get rid of the Icarus attack in the event that he has it. So I should have done that. I Special Summon the Full Troll instead, and then I activate the effect of Full Troll to Special Summon. And then I target the Ember's Blade. He's going to chain the DD Crow here, and then I'm going to activate the Mind Control, and then I'm going to Synchro Summon the Gale with the Hyunlei to go into Gothams, because if you see the requirement here, it says 1 tuner and 1 or more Earth monster. So I fulfilled the tuner requirement and then the Earth non-tuner requirement. I'm going to activate the Gothams effect here to discard the last card in his hand, and it was a Vayu. I should have known it was a Vayu, and now I helped him get the Sirocco. He doesn't have a Sirocco or Armwing, so it's kind of fine, so I don't mind doing this neg 1 play. As long as I'm able to get rid of the Vayu, I can probably get rid of the Icarus attack play as well. So I'm attacking directly with the Gothams. He makes the misplay to deprison the Gothams. I personally would not have done that. I would have deprisoned the Full Troll, because Full Troll is the one generating me the advantage every turn. So now he's really on the pressure to draw something to out the Full Troll here, and he draws into an MST, which does nothing. I'm going to start my next turn with the effect of Full Troll. That allows me to get another monster, and then I can probably swing direct, but I'm going to try to go for lethal here by summoning a monster, getting me another X-Saber monster to my hand, and then just try to swing in for damage here. Instead, I'm going to play around the Mirror Force by the looks of it, and since Full Troll does have 1800 defense, I'm not too worried about Shura running it over in the event that this gets Book of Moon for some reason. So he's going to be down 2,800 life points. He's going to draw into a dead Icarus. So good thing I was able to hit the Vayu out of his hand. Otherwise, that Icarus would have been live. But then now he's going to take the turn again. I'm going to activate the effect of Full Troll to get me another +1. And now the Fulham Knight's going to be able to deal with a lot of damage here. So I think that's lethal here. That's 2,800 exact. And then we're going to go into game 3 after this. So I could have been 2-0'd by Blackwings, but he did misplay by not setting the last Deep Prison. So it gives me the opportunity to win game 2 against him. But I mean, game 1 was just insane. But this was the closest match I had, I think, out of all of the 8 matches I played. He's going to be setting the Vayu and then setting the Icarus attack. I'm going to be summoning the Ember's Blade to attack directly. No, it looks like I go for the Airbellum. The reason why I go for this, I think, in hindsight, was because I wanted this to go to the graveyard in the event that this gets Mirror Forced or something. And so if it gets Mirror Forced, then my Fulham Knight can revive the Airbellum the next time I'm able to destroy a monster. It's also the biggest monster now that he doesn't have a monster that he didn't want to summon. He does have the the Whirlwind, but I do have the Icarus attack. I mean, I do have the Mirror Force as well as the Saber Hole to stop this. So he's going to Blind Space, hit the Mirror Force. He's going to summon the Bora. I'm going to Saber Hole here. And then now this is going to give me a game shot for the Airbellum, because once I declare an attack directly with Airbellum, I'm going to be able to do a lot of damage. Luckily for me, I draw into an MST. MST is going to be able to allow me to do the Full Troll play in the main phase 1. So I'm going to call priority here to MST. I should have done it on priority, actually, on the draw phase, because then he can just shoot me. He's going to reveal that he has an Icarus attack set. I'm mostly going to summon the Ember's Blade here, special summon the Full Troll. Activate the Full Troll after I Synchro Summon into Goyo Guardian. And then I'm going to go onto the Airbellum. The Airbellum is going to rip another card out of his hand, which is good. So I'm going to be able to hit a Falsodyna or a Blizzard out of his hand. Looks like I go for the Falsodyna. So yeah, so the Falsodyna gets discarded here. I'm going to swing for 24 and 28. So he can go into the Bryanak next turn, and then Synchro Summon, and then ditch 2 cards to deal with my Synchro plays. The reason why I don't leave the Airbellum up is because I don't want him to draw into a Shura, because the Shura is going to be able to attack over the Airbellum and then go into Black Rose after that. So I make the decision here to Synchro Summon into a Gothams here, and then I just pass turn here. So he draws into a DD Crow. He's going to summon the Blizzard, and he's going to go into the Brinac play where he discards 2 of his hand. And that leaves him on top deck mode, but it also leaves me on top deck mode as well, because now I have to figure out a way to deal with these this Brinac with my Rhoda. And since I don't have a Raikou in my graveyard, I can't really go Rhoda into Junk Synchron, which is a real shame. But that's fine. I'm going to draw into a Dust Shoot, which is dead, and I'm going to set 2 to pass here. And keep him guessing. If he does summon a monster, it kind of makes him fear the Torrential and the like. And hopefully he uses the Brinac effect to try to bounce things back, so that if he does declare an attack, he kind of walks into it like a Mirror Force. Instead, he has a no fear perspective because he's on the back foot, so he's just going to try to swing as much damage as possible. But summoning the Gale, though, it helps me go into the Ember's Blade, and that's never a good thing to crash the Ember's Blade into the Gale. Let's see what happens here. I draw into a God's Emergency Call, which is a really good top deck. Now I'm going to activate the Rhoda here to get the Fulham Knight, summon the Fulham Knight, and set the Gotems. And so if he goes, try to go Brinac to bounce one of my back row, I could just chain the Gotem's Emergency Call to negate the attack here. So he's going to activate the Brinac. I don't know why he decides to suddenly do this, but yeah. Now I'm going to be able to flip over the Gotem's Emergency Call and then get my 2 monsters out. So my Arabellum and my Fulham Knight's now in my hand. He can have the attack of the Arabellum to attack over both my monsters, but my ultimately that's not going to do much because my Ember's Blade can just capitalize on this. So he's going to half the attack. This is a really strange play, but it makes it so that I can't crash the Ember's Blade into his Gale, but I could just crash it anyways and then get the second Ember's Blade. So I'm not sure why he didn't want to cut the attack of the Arabellum, attack over the Arabellum, and attack over my Ember's Blade. But I guess there was really no good play he could have done. Maybe summon the Boro would have been a better play instead of activating the effect. I luckily draw into a Regigura. This means that I can see my my Full Troll play. So I'm going to summon the Regigura here, add the Full Troll in my hand, and special summon the Full Troll. And then I can actually win here with the Armory Arm play here by equipping the Armory Arm to my Full Troll and attacking over the Brinac. And that's going to get me the game against Blackwings. So pretty good start right off the bat against Blackwings. Even though they were able to see the Whirlwind, MST Solemn Judgment in game 1, I was still able to win this match. All right, so this is going to be the first matchup against Vayu Turbo. So he opens up Gores, Dark Grepher, Heavy Storm, Bottomless Trap Hole, and Return. I go first for this game. I'm going to be setting the Ember's Blade as normal, and then I'm going to set the Bottomless Trap Hole and pass. So if he summons any monster, I can just Bottomless Trap Hole it. It looks like he doesn't open up really well at all. He draws really bad, kind of. He just draws Double Bottomless and Heavy Storm. Likely he's going to activate the Heavy Storm and then just pass, I want to say. Or he's just going to pass and do nothing. So since he doesn't know that I'm on Arabellum, I'm going to summon the Arabellum here to see what he's playing. So I'm going to attack directly for 1600 here, see what he conjure up after the battle phase, or the battle damage. He's going to activate the Gores as Chain Link 2, so this means I can discard a card of his hand before he's able to lose his Gores, and then I'm going to be able to discard the Burial from the looks of it. So I'm glad that I was able to discard the Burial, because that was a really good card that could have pretty much spelled lethal for him, especially with the Heavy Storm in hand. It was looking pretty bad for me. So now he's going to he flies a Vayu, so he can Heavy Storm first, activate, summon the Grepher, pitch the Vayu to special summon a Armwing. And unluckily for him, he doesn't know that the face down is an Ember's Blade. The Ember's Blade is going to be able to block out most of the attack against Vayu, which is why I really like Ember's Blade against, or Recruiters against Vayus. So he's going to attack me over 11, and he's going to attack with an Armwing. I'm going to go Ember's Blade into another Ember's Blade, and I think he's going to stop attacking here because he doesn't want to get me more monsters out of my into my graveyard. Even though I do have 2 X-Saber monsters, which there's no reason why he shouldn't have done that. Here I have the option here to Heavy Storm. He's going to set 2 and commit to the Heavy Storm play, which is really good for me. So I'm going to Heavy Storm him first, activate the summon the Junk Synchron here, and then I have the option here to go into Goyo, but I think that play is not as good as going to Arachnid. So I go into the Arachnid play instead, which is what I do instead. So the Arachnids is probably just as good as Vayu. I think I should have probably made Goyo instead, but I was really excited to see the Arachnid play here. So the Arachnid play is going to equip the Gores to the Arachnid, and then I'm going to be able to attack over one of a monster. I think I attack over the Grepher or the Armwing. I think it's the Armwing, if I had to guess. Yeah, so that's the biggest monster. I don't want him to summon a Plague Spreader zombie and then Synchro Summon, so that's why I do this play. Yeah, but this play should have been, this definitely should have been a Goyle play and steal the the Goyo Guardian. Actually, let's see. So the Goyo only takes out one monster. The Arachnid takes out two. So I think the Arachnid was a better play, actually, in hindsight. So I'm going to set the God's Emergency Call with the Bottomless Trap Hole. So I'm in a really good spot. His Deep Presence is actually dead. For those of you guys who don't know, Arachnid has the effect where if it does declare an attack, your opponent cannot activate a spell or a trap until the end of the damage step. So the Deep Presence is actually really good here. So I'm glad that I went into this after all, instead of the Goyo Guardian. So I'm going to draw into a Spy here. The Spy is going to allow me to go into Descendant to pop the back row. I'm going to go into the battle phase to attack over his monster. He tries to activate Deep Prison, but I tell him he can't. And then now he reveals to me that as a Deep Prison. So now I know what to play around. He draws into a Sirocco, which is a dead card. He's going to try to attack the face down monster with his token. And lo and behold, it is a Spy. So he scoops the game here. He doesn't want to see if I have Descendant in my deck. So he just auto scoops without seeing what I might have in my deck. So we're going to go in game 2 with Vayu Turbo against me. He's going to open up pretty mid again, as why I don't like Vayu Turbo. He does luckily draw into a hamster that allows him to block off attacks. I'm going to see the Airbellum. I'm most likely going to summon the Airbellum, I believe. No, it looks like it's just set and pass in case it's a Raikou. And then if he flips the Raikou and tries to pop my back row, I can just chain it and destroy his back row. So he goes into hamster here. Now he goes into the Airbellum, or into the Hunter. The Raikou, the Hunter. He's going to go Caius here, which is still good. I'm going to chain the Dust Tornado to hit his back row, and then hit his Torrential Tribute. He's going to set a back row, and then he's going to choose not to declare an attack here. Looks like he's too afraid of the Gores. Nope, he's not. He's going to declare an attack for 2,400 attack, bringing me down to 5,600 life points. A very familiar life points for most cases. I'm going to MST the back row, I believe, and summon the Airbellum, attack over the Raikou. No, it looks like it goes for the deck devastation play here. And he's going to hit my one card out of my hand. So I show him the rest of my hand, and it's nothing that can get deck devastation virus. My Airbellum's going to be able to clear an attack to the face down. The Raikou's going to be able to deal the Airbellum. I have the option here to set 4. I think I do that play because I want to be able to resolve my God's Emergency Call. So he draws into a Vayu here. He's going to summon the Vayu, attack directly for 800, and then I'm going to be taking 800 life points. All right, and then I'm drawn to a Full Troll. That's pretty dead, so I had to pass here, revealing the Full Troll. And then he's going to take another turn here, summon another Vayu, I believe, to do more damage to me, so that he takes away my options. And I'm going to take 1,600 life points here, and he's going to set another back row, which is going to be the Solemn Judgment. I'm going to chain the MSC in the end phase, and then that would be able to deal with the Solemn Judgment. I finally draw into an Airbellum, and then the Airbellum is going to be really good because now I can go flip the God's Emergency Call, get a bunch of X-Saber monsters, special summon the Full Troll, and it's pretty much GG's against Vayu Turbo. So yeah, X-Saber's doing so well. Very surprising, I would say, that X-Saber is able to do well in today's format. But again, I have to stress enough that a lot of people just don't know what they're saying when they place X-Sabers at a low tier. I personally think it's because people just don't play around with other decks. They just think one-sided in terms of their own deck and seeing their strength against other decks without actually playing it. So we're going to go into the last game against Hero Frogs. That's going to be the last meta deck coverage I want to show you guys to see how this deck works. So I'm going to be playing off against Hero Frogs. They're going to be opening up a Substitute combo along with the Reinforcements of the Army. They're going to start off with Substitute, I believe, and going to the Swap Frog. The Swap Frog is going to be able to dump the Treeborn Frog, and then they're going to bounce back and pass. I have the option here if I draw into an Airbellum to attack directly, but that seems kind of unsafe. Let's see what I draw into. I draw into a Saber Hole with no X-Saber monster, so this is going to be pretty bad for me. But at the very least, he's not going to do much because I'm going to Dust Shoot him and take away his Caius, and that's what I'm going to do here after he brings up the Treeborn Frog. And then now the Caius is gone. Now he can't really tribute summon for anything. So most likely what he's going to do here is either summon the Stratos with the Reinforcements of the Army, searching for an Alias, I believe. They still play the Alias in the deck, and no, they search for the Prodigy. And then they're going to attack directly after they special summon the Swap Frog. So the Swap Frog and the Stratos is going to hit for 2,800 life points. And I'm going to be going down to 5,200 life points. He's going to bounce the Swap Frog back to his hand, setting the Legacy Yatagarasu. I draw into a Bottomless Trap Hole here. I do have the option here to activate Mind Control, but I'm just going to set 2 more back row and pass. He's going to activate the Legacy Yatagarasu. With the Dead Gores in his hand, he does have the Emergency Call to be able to search for more heroes. I think he ran out of targets. And he's going to be directly hitting me for 1,800 life points. Doesn't want to summon the Swap Frog because I guess he fears Torrential Tribute. So he does it in main phase 2. I think he wanted to try to go for the play where he bounces back Stratos, but he does not do that. I'm getting fed up with waiting, so I pretty much activate the Mind Control here. Summon the Junk Synchron and the Synchro Summon into Airbellum. This allows me to have an X-Saber on rotation. I'm going to attack over the Treeborn Frog, And then now I have the Saber Hole to back up at the Kai's play. Let's see what he does here. He's going to activate the Econ to steal my Airbellum. One of the reasons why Saber Hole is not as good, but at least I do have the Solemn Judgment here. And if he does try to do another Kai's play, I do have the Saber Hole to negate this. And he does summon the Substitute, and then that allows me to Saber Hole this monster. Another reason why Saber Hole is good is because you can negate the summon of Substitute, so which is pretty good. I'm going to set the Spy here after attacking over the Treeborn Frog, and then I'm going to pass the turn. The Spy is going to help me get into Descendant. He's going to draw into a Heavy Storm. He still doesn't have a play except for the play with a Malicious Edge. I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to Heavy Storm first, Special Summon, or Normal Summon the Malicious Edge, and attack over my Arabellum. Lucky for me, I do have the Spy to flip over to pop the monster, and I also have the God's Emergency Call. Unfortunately, not being able to see the another X-Saber makes the God's Emergency Call pretty dead. I'm going to activate the effect of Malicious. I don't think I attack here, and then I just set the God's Emergency Call. He thinks I declare an attack, and he reveals to me Gores. I said I never declared an attack, so now he shows me for sure that he has the Gores in hand. And looking by his hand, he doesn't even have access to Alias, so he's going to have to summon Swap Frog and pass. Yeah, so not having the Alias here is pretty bad for him because now I can capitalize on him not having the monster. I draw into Rescue Cat. This is amazing top deck because now I have both my Full Trolls now alive. I'm going to summon the Rescue Cat, go into a double Arabellum, and this is where things go south for him so fast because now the Arabellum is going to be able to do a lot of damage out of his hand. I'm going to use the Arcanite Magician, leave the Arcanite Magician with 2 counters so I can pop the Gores. I'm going to go activate the effect of Full Troll. I'm going to go attack over the Treeborn Frog, attack directly with the Arabellum, trying to nick a card out of his hand. He's going to go Battle Fader, and then I'm going to destroy the rest of his hand with the Golems here once I destroy the Battle Fader. So I'm going to go into Golems first, and then I'm going to use a Special Summon Full Troll before I give up the second monster. That's not correct. I have God's Emergency Call, that's why. So I do this play, I activate God's Emergency Call, and I get 2 more Arabellums, and then I use the effect of Golems again to discard yet another card. And this is why this is really good against Frog Heroes, because they just simply cannot deal with the hand discarding. I'm Special Summoning another Full Troll, activate the effect of Golems, discarding yet another card out of his hand, hoping to get the Gores out of his hand. Still can't get the Gores out of his hand. Activate the effect of Full Troll, Special Summon the Arabellum, and then using the Golems to discard the last card of his hand. So yeah, now he has to top deck into a Miracle if he wants to see the next turn. Otherwise, he just loses this game. Draws into a Caius, which is also okay. He can bring out the Caius, target the Golems, and then attack over the Full Troll. Let's see what he does here. Banishes the Golems, and then he makes the mistake to attack over the Arcanite Magician. Big misplay for him. And now I'm able to revive the card off the Golems, the Full Troll, getting the Arabellum, summoning the Ember's Blade, going to the Goyo Guardian, attacking over the Caius, and now I have this Caius, and now, yeah. So he makes a misplay. He should have definitely attacked over the Full Troll here. Would have been a different game. I'm not entirely sure. I would have drawn into the Ember's Blade, and then I would have had an Arcanite Magician that pops his Caius, and then I would have attacked for 413. He draws into a Dupe Frog. That would have been able to wall off the Ember's Blade as well as the Arcanite Magician. So yeah, I guess he should have definitely done that. Now he's giving me the option to go Full Troll, switching the Caius to attack position, and then I'm going to attack over his monster and then win the game 1 against the Frog Hero deck. So yeah, off to a good start already. We're going to go into games 2 against this player. He's going to be starting off with the Dust Chute with no monsters except for Swap Frog. So he's going to summon the Swap Frog, dump the Treeborn Frog, and then set the Dust Chute and Dust Tornado and pass. He's going to activate the Dust Chute. Looking at my hand, he's probably going to choose the Arabellum because he wants to preserve his hand. And then now he knows my hand. I'm most likely going to set the Raikou with the Mirror Force and pass, or the Trap Stun. I think I should go for the Trap Stun and also set the Mirror Force. Okay, so he's going to try to blind Dust Tornado. He's going to set another Dust Tornado, and then he's going to activate the Dust Tornado, hit the other card. But lucky for me, he doesn't really have much going on for him. He's going to have to go for the Emergency Call, search for Stratos, attack over my Raikou. He knows it's a Raikou, and I'm going to have to force to pop the Stratos here. So if I mill an Ember's Blade or any sort of X-Saber monster, my reinforcement of the army is going to be able to clear the Treeborn Frog here, and I'll be able to bring out the Full Troll. So he sets over he passes without doing anything here. I'm going to activate the Reinforcement of the Army, get the Fulham Knight, attack over the Treeborn Frog, get the Ember's Blade, and I'm not going to bring out the Ember's Blade in attack position. I'm just going to put in defense position here, and then I'm going to special summon the Full Troll in main phase 2. I'm going to Synchro Summon into Goyo because Goyo is bigger than most of his monsters, and then I'm going to use the Full Troll to get back the Fulham Knight to negate the attack to my Full Troll. So the Fulham Knight's going to be able to block out an attack. Lucky for him, he does have the enemy controller, so he can steal my monsters and then start doing things. He's going to take my Fulham Knight. He's going to bring back the Treeborn Frog. Normal summon the Salt Frog. He can go into a level 6 Synchro if he wants to. Looks like he's going to go for a level 5 Synchro, which is I don't think is correct. But here we are. He's going to attack over the Full Troll because he made a mistake last game and now he learns his lesson. He's going to set the Mirror Force. I'm going to go summon the Arabellum, but I walk into the Mirror Force here. I take his Catastor. I can even Synchro summon it into a Stardust, and I don't do that. I instead go for the Greed play here because I want to hit cards out of his hand, and lo and behold, he has a Mirror Force. Draws into a Miracle Fusion, goes into the F-Zero. So looking pretty bad for me. I have to draw into Gotham's Emergency Call along with another X-Saber monster to survive this onslaught. I draw into Rajagura, summon the Rajagura, and then I think I add a Fulham Knight, yeah. Because he does have the Treeborn Frog, and so he's going to have to sacrifice the Treeborn Frog if he wants that gone. And he does draw into a Vanity's Fiend, and I immediately scoop the game after that. So now we're going to go into Games 3 right now. And then we're going to see, I'm going to go first this time. Hopefully he doesn't draw into a Dust Shoot to disrupt my plays. Looks like I draw into Double Ember's Blade and Double Full Troll. Really good hand, by the way, against this deck. So I'm going to do a T-set. He's going to activate the Soul Exchange and then summon the Ryza to put me back. And then I do have the Ember's Blade with the Mirror Force. He tries to go into battle phase. I tell him he can't because of the Soul Exchange. And he's going to set the enemy controller here. Looks like I draw into the Dust Tornado again. I'm going to set, I think. Yeah. And then I pass. He's going to not declare an attack. I'm going to Dust Tornado his back row in the end phase. So his legacy is now dead. So now I have to play here where I could go into the Arabellum into the Double Full Troll. And I think that's what I do since I'm on the back foot. I'm going to go into Arabellum. He thumbs up. I special summon the Full Troll. I don't declare priority. I should have declared priority on his effect because then he could have chained this enemy controller and steal my monster. And that would have been the end of my turn. So I declare an effect on Full Troll to revive the Ember's Blade. And now I'm going to Synchro Summon Tianlei. He's going to use the effect of the enemy controller to put my monster defense position. And then now he's going to... and now I have the double Full Troll. So I special summon the Full Troll here, special summon a level 3 Synchro monster. And then here I make the play to go into the Arabellum play where I start nicking cards out of his hand. And then main phase 2 using the Gothams to discard the rest of his cards. So, but first I think I'm going to go into, it looks like I go into Gothams. So now I go into battle phase first, swing over the Ember's Blade. I take 11, go into Arabellum. And then the Arabellum, first I'm going to attack over the Ryza with my Gothams. That's going to take out 700 life points. And then I'm going to attack directly with Arabellum. And then I'm going to discard his whole hand because now he won't be able to do much with that. So I'm going to nick a card of his hand and then use Gotham's effect, I believe, twice. Yeah. Discarding the Hyunlei and the Arabellum. So he's going to take a lot of damage here, going down to 1,000. And then I'm going to use the Gotham's effect to discard both the Gotham's, the Hyunlei as well as the Arabellum. So after a really good start here, now he has a top deck. Let's see what he does. He top decks into a Dark Death Spirit with no Treeborn Frog access. And that's going to spell lethal for him on the next turn. And I win the game against Hero Frogs. So yeah, I'm saying, you guys, Hero Frogs, I mean, this deck has a really good matchup against Frogs just because they don't commit too much to the field. Although he didn't draw his Battle Fader and he didn't have a way to open up a Swap Frog play. But that is one of the weaknesses of this deck. I don't think he plays less than 2 Swap Frogs, I would say. He plays a 3 Substitute line, which is pretty standard. But look at the hand here. I just drew a bunch of X-Saber monsters for the most part. So no real back row removal except for Dust Tornado and Mirror Force, which never resolved in this game. Never needed it. And it just ended up being really good against most of the matchups. But yeah, that's the gameplay videos. Hope you guys enjoyed the 3 matchups I played against the 3 meta decks of Edison, which is Hero Frogs, Blackwings, and Vayu Turbo. And this deck can still win against those matchups, even though this deck is a very low tier deck, apparently, to a lot of people. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.